All right, Goodfellas, one of the best gangster movies of all time, one of the best movies of all time. Many of you would say that, right? So let me give you my thoughts on watching Goodfellas again. Martin Scorsese and the story of Henry Hill. That's right. Who has seen this movie probably won't forget it because it is such a great depiction of sort of mafia life. Being a wise guy. The film is actually called Wise Guy. I think the book is actually called Wise Guy. And Henry Hill is brought to life and it's done great with these sort of like flashbacks to the childhood rise of learning like petty theft, learning from Robert De Niro's character some of the advice about don't rat on your friends, blah blah blah, working for Paulie who doesn't talk, and all these different things that will lead and form him as he moves into his adulthood. Is there a more cool or sort of like transition from the young? I mean, this is like Harrison Ford in Last Crusade with the hat. Like, there's just such a great transition into Ray Liotta's version of Henry narrating this adventure and journey through his life and how he always wanted to be a gangster and be a person that had the sort of influence in his neighborhood and on to other people. It's fantastic. I mean, everything about the movie is just spot on. The one thing I did like about the movie that isn't really said a lot is the fact that it doesn't really portray the glamour that you think about sometimes when you think about mafia. They're just stealing trucks. They're just making money with these crazy things. And this comes up again when in Donnie Brasco. If you've seen Donnie Brasco, Johnny Depp and Al Pacino, it's not as glorious as like Godfather and other things. Like they're just trying to figure out how to make enough money to contribute and be a good earner. And that is really what this is life is really like. And sadly, they make a big score. There's tons of money and they don't really have to follow a lot of the rules. They get a lot of free stuff, things like that. But it really portrays things in a more grounded, realistic light. And you just walk through different moments of Henry's life that are just so fantastic. You get, the wedding, you get Joe Pesci, you get how they deal with people who are pushing back. Here with De Niro's Jimmy beating somebody up. You have all of these different moments that come to light when they're trying to dig up a body that they killed early on because he turned out to be a made guy and they're going to find that body. And of course, Pesci's character is the one everybody talks about, right? Am I a clown? Am I here to entertain you? Like, I think that Pesci's character, Tommy DeVito, is fantastic. He's probably one of the more memorable characters in all of gangster films, not just the ones that's done by Scorsese or even this era. And I think Jimmy De Niro's character is not necessarily the greatest portrayal that he's done. He's done better portrayals, but it all works well. The chemistry comes together, and it provides a great back and forth between those characters when they're on screen together, and moves the story along super, super well. And with all these movies, enough is never enough, right? They just can't ever stop. It always just keeps going and going and going until it's just too much. Someone's going to get caught. Someone's going to get busted. Someone's going to be a rat. Someone's going to turn on somebody. And that's what plays out in the movie. So, is it the greatest gangster film of all time? Is it the greatest Scorsese film for you? I Here's where it loses it for me. And it's not Scorsese's fault. It's not anyone in the movie for it. It's just Henry Hill's fault. The movie changes so dramatically once we get into the last half of the movie where we get into the 80s, where Henry is going to turn into basically using and dealing cocaine. The whole tone of the picture has to change. Everyone has to turn on Henry because they don't want to go down with him, even though he's going to drag them down ultimately. But the tone of the picture and the feel of the picture and being immersed in their world is what we really enjoy. And when you get to that last 10% or so, it's not even the fact that it changes, it's the fact that we get to this last 10%. It's just really hard to handle and not as enjoyable to see how Henry has to turn on everybody because he's dug this hole for himself. The pace of that, the feel of all that, take it away from being a perfect film for me. Like it takes us out of that elite status for me. But we're talking about the same problem I have with like No Country for Old Men. When everything is that great and that perfect, taking the little edge off, it makes it like the 9.5 out of 10. It doesn't make it like a 7 or I hate this movie or I like Casino more. That's absurd. This is one of, if not Scorsese's best films. It's just the fact that that little bit is what changes it for me. I enjoy this film so much more until we get to then. And I will say part of it is just the jaded bitterness that I have of how stupid these people. It's always the undoing. We've all seen so many of these biopics where it's the gangsters or the mafioso making all this money. They can never have enough. They're just going to keep going and going and going. They're going to make themselves more and more vulnerable to getting caught. They don't have a backup plan of how they've laundered their money through something that would be there when they got out. The feds will always catch up with them. I think that's the hard part. It's Henry Hill's life is the problem, not the film itself. So, as I say, I'm going to rate this probably a little bit lower than some people. People have this on their top 10 of all time. They'll have this in their, they like this movie more than even Godfather or something that I personally can't agree with, but I get it. But for me, it slides, I mean, literally that shade, that little bit. And I think it's not, I don't know what else Scorsese really could have done differently for me. I think that there's a little bit of he has like a couple of different sort of like the Scorsese style that he uses, things that he always does, the music that he uses, the sort of approach to everything. It is not it's so overdone that I've kind of like I kind of lost its edge for me, if you will. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's in so many of his movies that, but at the same time, this is just an absolutely hard hitting, stylish look at mafia life. I think it's first rate. Pesci is phenomenal. It almost feels like he's just doing ad lib and everything is unscripted, even if it's not. It just feels that's just that really. It's just really that good. That's all there is to it. I don't know what he was up against to lose in that Academy Award to. I know it won for no Pesci. This is Pesci's Academy Award for Best Supporting Role, but it lost, I believe, to Dances with Wolves. And I always feel like I have no desire to watch Dances with Wolves again. It's a fine enough film. It's just so long, and it's just like that drab drama. Just ugh, I don't want to get through that. And no offense to Costner, no offense to that movie. I just think this movie and the director were far superior, and it was a complete snub that they didn't win that year. And that's kind of where I feel about it. Everything else, I think it's fine. I don't think that anything about it is not getting the glory it deserves. I think it's considered a great, great film. It's just that's kind of where I'm at. So, how angry did I make you? How angry did I make you that I don't have it as perfect? Some of you are out there, and some of you are like, "No, I get it. It's okay. Let's hear about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk it through together." But thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Pops.